Hello everyone and welcome to the Zelda Cast here on ZeldaDungeon.net. My name is Andy Spiteri, joined by Alice and Aletha. How we doing on this long weekend, Al?
Good. Do you guys get a long weekend too up there in Canada?
Yep. Yep, we
Dope.
do.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm ready for it. I need a little bit of a break.
Mm.
I have been playing the most fantastic Zelda game ever. JK, it's not that fantastic, but like it's very good. I've been playing Minish Cap because it's now available
Yes.
on Nintendo Switch Online, and it's so much fun. I'm glad it's cool, and we'll talk about it later on a future episode, but it's cool because I haven't played it in so long that it feels like the first time.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
so our website traffic for the Minish Cap guides is like
Yeah.
through the roof. So
I'm one of those
I'm really
people.
glad like a lot of people are checking out the Minish Cap. I've been a champion of it for a long time. I really honestly believe it's one of the best like 2D Zelda games. I believe it's one of like the
Yeah.
best Zelda games actually. I wouldn't have been facetious in saying what you said, but that's just me.
I can get behind 2D because I was thinking about it and I was like, what if I had to play one of these new games that are now on Nintendo Switch Online, I would want to play Minish Cap versus Oracles or Link's Awakening. So,
Yeah, Minish Cap has more. I want to say personality. It's more unique.
very
It's
charming.
more, yeah. It has a charm and a whimsy, and just kind of has like a whole vibe about it. It's like a happy, fun like game that has like a tried and true gimmick, but it's used in a new way. Like there's lots of charming stuff in that game. So I'm very excited that you are playing it. I'm happy.
Yep.
Have you been playing Metroid Prime Remastered? That's the real question everybody wants to know.
No.
Oh, jeez.
No, I only have so much time in my life to play video games, and right now I'm working on Minish Cap, and I'm like doing all the kinstones and stuff, so taking some time.
Well, that's good.
So yeah.
There is a lot of kinstones, and I will say a downfall of Minish Cap, although this is really like a downfall of just like early Zelda games in general, is like it would have been very, very helpful if you had some kind of like logbook of
Yes,
the kinstone matching people, like where they
I
are,
agree.
maybe even what shape. I think they're randomly generated, like like the non-important ones. I
Hmm.
think so. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are what, like a week and a half removed from the Nintendo Direct
Yep.
that rocked our world, depending on who you ask. So yeah, we're a week and a half away from that. Dust is kind of settled. You know, everyone's kind of down back to earth, come down from the high of that incredible Nintendo Direct. So, listen, we put it out there into the universe that we wanted your Tears of the Kingdom theories and in I guess predictions, if you will, or just questions, anything like that. So you guys were awesome, and you definitely rose to the occasion. And we are gonna go and spend the next hour just going through some of these theories and talking about what the heck this game might be all about. But before we do that, I have two things that I want to talk about, Al. Two
Okay.
things, and one of them I'm gonna get on a soapbox here for a second.
Oh,
Okay.
good.
So anyone that doesn't want to listen to me from my soapbox yelling, you can just skip ahead here a minute. But like, I, man, I saw like the most disgusting thumbnail from like a YouTuber this last weekend. I'm not gonna say who the YouTuber was, and I sent out a tweet that maybe generalized the Zelda YouTubers a little bit, but like I'm talking about this particular headline. It's made me so sick, and I just implore people, our listeners, to like not engage with that kind of content. So this headline was just like Zelda OLED confirmed, or crafting confirmed for Tears of the Kingdom, details inside, or like what else? Like something else like that, totally bogus, right? That like you could maybe infer. Like I think like you and I talked about last week, right? I think that we could probably predict with some degree of high probability that there might be weapon crafting. But we're not going to put out a podcast entitled Weapon Crafting Confirmed. We're going to give you all the details because we have no idea. We have no
Right.
idea. Neither do these people. So I saw this and it just made me sick to my stomach. Like it just made me sick. And so this particular YouTuber I know doesn't know anything. I know him, and he doesn't know a damn thing. So I was like, this is just like, it's just gross content. It's gross headlines. It's, I don't know, just it was just gross. So I'm imploring our listeners. You guys are the smartest Zelda fans in the Zelda community. Don't fall for that goofy, whack, bogus, manufactured garbage. Don't do it. Like, I wish I would have even seen that headline because it appeared on my new Twitter algorithm, which like lets me see people I don't want to follow.
Oh my god, it's such a mess right now.
And I actually had this person muted, so I have no idea how this like appeared on my feed. But anyways, it did, and I was just I shouldn't have, but I did. So I clicked on this dude's profile, and I started going through, and I was just like, Jesus, Murphy, it's the worst. It's the worst. So again, please don't fall for that garbage. Just don't do it. Please don't do it.
Yeah, it's like a struggle because you see a headline where it's just like, actually, I've been getting this not for Zelda, but for like this show I follow where the headline is very clearly trying to draw you in by saying something, but they mean something else in the post. So they were like, "Oh, this actor of the show has a tearful apology," and it's just like, "Oh, is it because the show got canceled?" That was my thought. Because that's what they wanted me to think. No, It was for something else. You know, it was for something that an event they couldn't go to, and it was just like, why? What's the point of that? Like, the actor couldn't attend event, issues an apology. What's so bad about having an accurate, true headline? You know what I mean? Instead of something like clickbaity.
Someone pushed back a little bit. They're like, well, in the video, they're just talking about theories and stuff. It's like, well, then maybe say, how about a question mark in your title? Not like it's fact. And listen, this isn't just in, this is everywhere. Every headline, everywhere. Yeah. So, like you mentioned, across all mediums. I think it's because, I know this particular person, and I was just like, ugh. It made me feel like I drink some expired milk or something. Like Ew. Seeing that. Yeah. Ugh. It's horrible.
Don't even get me on that thought. Blech.
Horrible.
Makes me think of the jelly beans from the marathon 2 marathons ago.
Okay, I said I had 2 things I want to talk about. I actually have 3. So the second, which is the new one, which is going to interject in the first, is actually, I want you to talk about something, Al. Now,
okay.
Normally, I'll get on this show, we'll start talking, and I'll try and work in a plug here and there for another show, but I was thinking maybe, Al, this week you could do the plugging, since I believe you listened to your, second or third ever virtual theater episode. What did you think? Tell our listeners what you think.
Listen, I listen to some of the virtual theater stuff. It's mostly when it's something that I know.
Can you tell us what virtual theater is?
Oh, God. I suck at this plugging thing, and I can't ever remember. But, virtual theater is the podcast about video game movies and the stories that shape them.
Yes!
Yes, thank you. Okay, anyways. Usually with stuff I know is when I'll listen to you guys, because you guys do a lot of stuff where I haven't watched the movie or haven't played the game, so I'm like, I don't really have an interest in this. So to be fair on that point. But you guys were talking about The Last of Us, which I have been made know that I'm a huge fan of The Last of Us, the video game and the show, and was looking forward to the show forever. And so I really wanted to hear your thoughts, Andy, because when I was gushing about the show being made, you were like, nah, why do they really need it? Yeah. So I was excited to get your thoughts, and I'm excited to hear that you actually really like it and are enjoying the heck out of it. I thought the episode was good. I kind of wish I was there because there was stuff you were saying where I was just like, oh, I know something about this that I could add to the conversation, but I wasn't there, so I was hearing you guys and your views on it. So that was fun and appreciated. So yeah, I enjoyed the episode.
Yeah, and I told Gooey during our recording that I was actually quite prepared to not really like the show because I think actually my criticism still kind of stands. I think it's still kind of valid where it's this probably didn't need to exist because the game is such a cinematic game anyways.
Right.
I think that's still valid, but it doesn't make it the show not awesome. And then I find fans of the Last of Us game and Naughty Dog and Neil Druckerman, I find them kind of pretentious. If you ever listen to them, it's just you would think that there was never like a really good story told in a video game before, or like never really good.
Oh, okay.
You know what I
I see
mean?
what you're
Like,
saying. Yes.
or like even the show is just kind of like, this is gonna break the video game curse. And it was like, all
Mm,
right, whatever.
yeah, I think that the people that take things to the extremes probably give it a bad rap, but like if you're just a fan of the story and you're just a
Yep.
fan of the, you know, the outlet that it was told and you're like, yeah, this is a fantastic story cinematic video game. Is it the greatest video game of all time? Probably not. Like, but you know, to some
But
people it
it's
is.
like it's a damn good video game. Like it's a
Yeah,
fantastic video. But like there's always those people that are just kind of like, oh my god,
they're
it's
gonna go a little over the top with it.
yeah.
I get it. I get that can be a bit annoying, but at the same time, it's just like I understand.
That's not
the
really
hype
fair
about
to the
it.
show itself either.
Right. Yeah,
You
exactly.
know. But it's all this. All that being said, I was prepared not to really like the show.
Hmm.
Ooh, I'm digging it. I'm digging it a lot. And like I said, it kind of helps that I see my home in there. Like it's kind of
Yeah,
cool to see that a
that
little
is cool.
bit. Because I don't know, like you're Tri-City, you probably don't get a lot of shows that show your
No,
hometown,
I
right?
can I can understand the hype though because we do have a local author here who uses the Tri-Cities as a setting, so it is kind of cool to see
Right?
my
Yeah,
home in the book. So
yeah.
I totally 100% get where you're coming from.
I watched episode 5 and it was awesome.
Episode 5 is
Episode 5
probably
was
my favorite.
awesome. Oh my god, the last like
I
10
thought it
minutes
was
were so intense.
so
So
good.
I just want
I
to
thought
throw
it
that
was
out there.
I thought it was funny that Goo was like, that was the worst episode. I was like, oh, Goo, no.
Goo. Yeah, no, my man, I love him, but that episode rocked. It was awesome. Okay, so check out Virtual Theater if you're into The Last of Us. Check out our episode on it. It's Allison approved. So
Yeah.
is it Allison approved? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's Allison approved. There we go.
I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the rest of the show.
Okay, we are going to talk about some Zelda here, I promise. One thing that I want to get to before we start is, every week as we're going out and we're going home, I kind of, I'm shilling a little bit, and I'm like, leave us a 5-star review. We'd really love it. And I don't actually check them as much as I should. And so I wanted to take a second, and I just wanted to, I just happened to check all our reviews a couple days ago. And there were so many 5-star reviews. It's so awesome. And I'm very thankful for everybody that takes the time to leave them. I'm not going to read all the reviews, but I just wanted to quickly go over and shout out a couple names here. So S'mores for Link left us a 5-star review. Idhab Subdid. I'm so sorry, I butchered your name. He left us a 5-star review. Chris334. Mickey 5878, Mr. Sea Pickle, Lando 90, Snow and Ice for Life, Grew Sky, who did pick all the nicknames. There's so many reviews that are like 5-star reviews that we really do appreciate it, and thank you so much for all the kind words. It makes it makes the grind of doing a weekly Zelda show worth it. So, yeah, thank you to everybody that took the time to, to leave us a comment or a review, or, even some of the bad reviews, the ones in good faith that have, like, suggestions of ways to improve. Like, we look at those, too. So, thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, we've been BSing for a long time here. Let's get to some Tears of the Kingdom. Are we ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. So one more time, this is our gimmick. We asked you guys to give us your theories, your questions, your predictions. We're going to read them and we're going to weigh in on how likely we think that is to come to pass. So let's start off with the ones we got on Discord. This is from Zelda73. This theory was made after the second most recent trailer, but I wanted to see what you guys thought. Somehow, Fi gets corrupted and causes the Master Sword to become unusable, and you have to repair it with the Tears of Hyrule. And the Tears of Hyrule would be this special liquid that you find at places that best represents the essence of Hyrule. And the green glowy stuff creates a symbol of the dragon eating its tail. That symbol represents destruction and rebirth. So, a lot going on in that theory. Let's kind of break it down there. So I think it's probably a pretty safe bet that, we know that the Master Sword gets crumpled up.
Super jacked.
Yeah, it's not looking too good. I think it's a very, very safe bet that a core part of the game is going to be rebuilding or re-tinkering or reforging the Master Sword. I would be surprised if that's not a part of the game. Now let's move on to the really juicy part about this theory and the return of Fi. I don't know about you, Al. I don't see that. I don't see. I could see like an Easter egg hint, kind of like something they did. I believe they said this in Breath of the Wild, where they said like there's a spirit inside the Master Sword. They say something to that effect, right?
The Master Sword literally talks to Zelda, not like in a voice we understand, but in the tone that of like Fi in the sword.
I see. Yeah.
So she's very much there. I mean, it's not explicitly said that it's Fi, but it's very implied because of the sound and the glow.
Right. I think that it would be like more of that.
Yes,
like,
I kind of agree. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I would pop off so hard if he came out and was like the character in like the Breath of the Wild art style. Like that would be so hype and so awesome. I don't quite see them going that way because I think that what we learned from Breath of the Wild is that they're not really that concerned or that beholden to like the timeline stuff that's come before it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I think Breath of the Wild was just kind of like, yeah, whatever. Like we're just gonna make a good Zelda game and kind of draw from the best of what we have. So I think that they would use that same kind of philosophy for Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's impossible. I think Fee could show up, but I don't see it. But I would. It would be awesome if she did.
I agree. I don't think she would like pop out of the sword in any way, but I would appreciate that more of what we saw in Breath of the Wild just to insinuate that she's still there and she's still present, and maybe she does in a way communicate with Link, because I think I could be wrong about this. I haven't watched the cutscenes in a while, but I think that even Zelda says, "Do you hear the sword talking to you?" Like she asks Link because there's a legend about the sword having a spirit inside of it. So that I could be wrong about that. Please somebody correct me if I am. But like I would just love more of that. If you could actually see the sword communicating with Link in a way, just not. I don't think it's going to be Fi popping out of the sword like she did in Skyward Sword.
Yeah, and like I think that when I hear like the sword communicates with Link, I feel like it should be something like an unspoken, like he can feel what the sword is trying to say, rather than like a text bubble shows it. Like that would be lame, I think, and I don't think that'll happen.
No, not like that. But like kind of how it did to Zelda, where it glowed and it made the noise, you know? So that would be cool.
So yeah, I think that could definitely be a thing. And as far as tiers go, I mean, listen, it's on the table. Like, we could be collecting tiers. I hope not, to be frank. I think we'll be collecting something to like reforge the Master Sword. Is it going to be? I mean, tiers is kind of an obvious thing, I guess, because we've collected tiers before. It's in the title of the game. Makes sense, but I think it's maybe just not going to be that on the nose. Could be wrong, but
I'd be okay with it. I think it kind of makes sense, like the vessels in that thing on Link's hip where the Sheikah Slate used to be, being the tiers that you collect to reforge the sword. I don't know. I feel like that would be very Zelda-like, in my opinion. Very Zelda-like. But it doesn't have to be, so, I mean, either way, I'd be okay.
Okay, what if it was this, though? This might actually be okay. What if they replaced Koroks with, like, tiers that you could find and collect, and maybe you could upgrade, augment? Because, like, I wouldn't think that if if tiers were, like, a Korok stand-in, that would be essential to the gameplay, or, like, to the game story, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but then you have to think about the fact that they still told us that the title was like a spoiler of the game. So what do tiers really have to do with the game?
Yeah, okay, that's true. That's true. Spoiler.
I still don't know if I like buy into that.
I forgot about that nonsense.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, lots to chew on there. Let's move on. This is from Rel Wolf. There is a theory that the weapons on the heads of the enemies will be used as materials for Link to craft his own weapons. Seems like in Breath of the Wild, you'd avoid enemies at times because you were low on weapons or didn't want to waste your weapons on certain groups of enemies. Yeah, I think that theory is looking pretty good. I mean,
I don't see why not.
Yeah. I think, like, you know, a lot of people pointed out, we pointed out as well in our video last week that, like, this symbol is on lots of different stuff. It's on, like, the hovercraft, it's on the John Deere tractor, it's on the hand cannon that Link has. I would be actually pretty shocked if you couldn't forge your own weapons in this game, because I think that's kind of where we're going.
Yeah, I agree. And like some of the stuff that is sticking out of like the Bokoblin or the Lizalfos heads
Yeah.
looks like the weapons that we grabbed from them when we, defeated them in Breath of the Wild. So, I mean, maybe being able to grab one of those pieces, like say the spike coming out of the Lizalfos head and sticking it to a tree branch, I feel like that's very plausible. This game does feel like there's going to be a pretty significant crafting system. We're not saying that's guaranteed or confirmed.
No.
It just feels that way,
And
So
by
I
the
wouldn't
way,
be surprised.
there's nothing wrong with making a YouTube video speculating about the possibilities,
Right. Just
but
don't
just
say
don't
it's
say it's
confirmed.
fact. But I think it probably is going to happen. And let me get back on my soapbox for a second here. Hold on, let me stand up. This is a great new feature if it is part of this game. Why wouldn't you advertise it beforehand to get people being like, oh, great, I hated the weapon durability system in Breath of the Wild. Now I could build my own stuff in Tears of the Kingdom. But instead, it's being locked away under the, I don't know, the Mission Impossible vault
I don't
that
know.
they're hiding this game's information behind. Anyways, let's move on. Pixel Guy 9. I've got a question for next week's episode. What do you think about the green swirling structures not being shrines, but cannons to shoot you up to a floating island? Some shrines can be accessed from both above and below, but you can only enter via the green swirling structures. I think it would be good as it would encourage exploration to both the sky and the surface. I don't think so. I don't know about you, Al. I don't think those are going to be the cannons. We did see in that one trailer where like Link kind of teardropped his way up, but did he go through a specific structure? That I can't remember now off the top of my head.
I would have to look at it again. But here's what I think when they're saying cannons. I don't think it's going to be cannons. I think it's going to be similar to not Breath of the Skyward Sword though. When you get to a bird statue and it like teleports you up to the sky with wind, maybe if you get to those swirling structures, it turns you into a teardrop that sucks you up into the one of the sky platforms, and you
Maybe.
literally go through the platform and pop out the other end. That's possible. I don't think it's going to be canon-like. I could be taking that very literally. But yeah, I think it's possible to be some kind of, because there's multiple
Yeah.
green swirly or whatever they are structures. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were some kind of portal piece to either underground or up in the sky.
Yeah, I can see it. I think that's definitely still on the table. I kind of am partial now to what you suggested last week, where like they're this kind of like the new shrines. I think that would be cool, but again, still a lot we don't know. I don't know. I feel I'd have to watch that clip again of how Link transported. I want to say that was during the 2021 trailer when that happened. So I'd have to watch that again to kind of see what what that looked like. But
Mm.
I don't recall that there is a green swirly thing. I could be wrong.
It's possible that there was, and they just blurred it out because didn't Goose himself say that stuff is being blurred out in
That
these
is true.
trailers?
Yep, that is true.
So,
Okay, let's keep it going here. Hyrule Princess says, Theory. Link's hand is a piece that is interchangeable and able to be upgraded. I think we'll be able to switch out different gloves, buy or earn new ones with different powers, change it out like his clothes. At least I hope so, because that would be so rad. That does sound kind of rad. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think
okay.
that's going to happen, because I think that what Link's hand is going to be is essentially like a new Sheikah slate. So like there's like I think it's pretty clear that like his rune abilities are tied to his hands. We saw that in the last trailer. I think that we kind of pieced that together from the trailers beforehand, but maybe both of those could be right, because what they could maybe do is have like it's almost like a weapon, like you could upgrade your hand, and then like if you upgrade your hand you get new rune abilities as well. That could be pretty cool.
Or maybe similar to how the runes are upgraded in Breath of the Wild, where you provide materials and they give you like bombs plus, and the
Yeah.
bombs recharge faster. I kind of like the idea of you being able to customize the arm a little bit. Like, obviously, it's not just gonna like pop off. Link can't pop off his own arm. But maybe like he's got like this metal brace on it. Maybe you could change the color via like dyeing or whatever. It makes me think of the lightsaber customization in Jedi Fallen Order, which was pretty rad because you could just make it however you want. And it would be kind of cool if you could do that with Link's arm, make it kind of look how you want. But I'm pretty sure it's going to stay that blackened shape with the brace. I think the brace is given to you by the green hand that's helping you. So
I think
we'll
so as
see.
well. I think that. So I love the idea actually, but I do think that the hand is going to stay and act as your rune, and I think that
Yeah.
I don't know, let's just call them the Zonai. I think that the Zonai or whoever Link is asking for, or I'm sorry, Zelda is asking for their strength to lend him your strength. I think they
Hmm.
are the ones who fashioned the gimmick on Link's arm. So I
Yeah.
think that's how it's going to play out, but it would be pretty cool, like if you could upgrade and change, swap out your arm for like different, maybe like an arm cannon or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd
That'd
be
be
cool.
pretty awesome. Ancient Poe. I wonder if the three dragon spirits will make a return, and if they do, in what way. I think that they're gonna come back, and I'm not sure that they're gonna be all that different.
I
I
think
don't
they
think
would still
so.
be like a passive thing. Like you interact with them because you need like a horn piece or
Yeah,
whatever, but I'm pretty sure they would still be kind of passive because they seem very indifferent. They don't seem like an enemy or an ally. Um, but it would be cool to have them come back or maybe get some more background information on them. That would be cool.
yeah. I think that they served a great purpose in Breath of the Wild, and I think that they could probably reuse that purpose in Tears of the Kingdom. Okay, these are actually a couple from our podcast reviews. So here we go. This is from S'mores for Link, and they ask, as for dungeons, how do you think they would need to design dungeons in this type of Zelda game where presumably the stamina and climbing mechanics will return? To clarify, in Breath of the Wild, all shrines and dungeons were unclimbable and had the same basic wall type to let the player know instinctively they could not be climbed. There's a couple of other things here, but that's basically the gist of the question. So I would say this. I think that you have the blueprint for how dungeons are going to work in this game, and I think it's Hyrule Castle.
Okay.
If they're bringing back, let's say that there's like 5 dungeons or something like that, and I think they would be 5 like Hyrule Castle type of structures. Maybe not like as big, but like the same kind of idea where you could freely walk around, you could explore. There's maybe a chamber that you can enter to fight a boss, whatever. I think that's going to be how they're going to do it.
Hmm.
Not
Um,
dissimilar from Elden Ring, actually.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um, just I guess kind of how I've seen dungeons be in some games that are still kind of linear but give you a sense of open worldness. Uh, where it's more like a puzzle is locking your way. So, kind of like how we do in regular old school Zelda dungeons, you solve a puzzle, get a key, get to move on.
Yeah.
I feel like instead of like getting a key, like a physical key, the puzzle is your key. So that's what I've been seeing in a lot of more open world video games where it feels like you could go anywhere, but they still kind of have you go in a say like a direction for the dungeons, quote unquote. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we see, and I'd be okay with that.
Yeah. For the climbing specifically in this one, I actually see no reason why climbing can't be a part of the dungeons, like at
Yeah,
all. Like
I don't
I
either.
feel
Yeah.
like you can do that. Like it was pretty. Like I had some pretty fun, intense moments in Hyrule Castle, like climbing up and my stamina's running out, and there's like 1,000 guardians behind me, and I was like, go 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 go! Like,
Hmm.
so I think that could be definitely
I
a
think
thing.
the worry is just like climbing and then gliding to certain areas. So I can
Yeah,
see that being like where the developers are like, "Oh, that's too easy." But at this point, we've also got like the most insane uh things that people are doing in order to do exactly that in shrines. So like people could get past it pretty easy enough. So we'll see.
yeah, we'll see. Okay, this is from. Well, actually, this person doesn't have a name. They just have a dog emoji and a happy face emoji. So, thank you for being so happy wherever you are. Their question is green stuff. If the green stuff is good, could it be good malice spreading throughout the kingdom? So yeah, I think that I don't know. I'm not like 100% sold that this green stuff is good, but I guess like after watching the trailer and like sitting on it, thinking on it, kind of seems that way, right? Like it kind of seems like at least it's not like bad. I
I
would say
don't
this.
know.
I think that the green stuff is going to be some kind of equivalent to Malice. Like I think that they're going to be like an equivalent. And now is one more powerful than the other? I'm not sure. Can one? I think that we've seen, or at least we think we've seen, the green stuff can slow the effect of Malice. So I would think that being said, you would think that the green stuff and whoever wields it, who let's just call the Zonai, just whatever,
Hmm.
would be good guys. I mean, or like
It's really hard to
good-ish.
say.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I I struggle with this connection because inherently Malice is bad, Malice is corruptive,
Right.
Malice uses corruption to do evil things, whereas this green stuff, I would argue, does good things, but we do see the green stuff on enemies too. So it's
Yep.
confusing. Is the green stuff more of a protective nature? And that's why we have enemies, because things are being protected by the Eox creature or the Igor that we see a couple trailers ago, or what I assume is an Igor. But like
Yeah.
stuff of that nature. Is it protective of something important? And that's why it feels a little bit combative versus good. So I wouldn't connect it to Malice per se, but I do understand the connection where it can control things or
Yeah.
has an ability to make things do what it wants, you know.
Yeah, that's what I mean by like I think that it will be like an equivalent. Like I don't think
Yeah.
it's made of the same malice juice, obviously, as
Or
malice.
no, it's not evil. Like I don't think it's
Yeah,
inherently evil. There that's what I
I
mean
don't
by
either. I could see maybe like what actually would be like a cool scenario is like so the Ganondorf's army maybe has some green stuff for himself, and so let's just say that the Zonai are like Link, we want our green stuff back, so we're gonna give you our own green stuff and you can use it for your purposes. And so Malice we just know is pure evil. Maybe
Mhm.
this green stuff is kind of like almost like the One Ring, where it's just like we're going to help you so much, and like, but maybe the Zona are like actually evil
With their
themselves,
own
and they're like, yeah, we want to help you, give you power, but this green stuff will corrupt. I don't know. It sounded cool in my head, but I started talking, I was like, maybe that's not so good.
Oh no.
But I do hope that like the Zonai, if, like again, we're just calling them the Zonai, whoever has the green stuff, um, maybe they could be a little bit more three-dimensional and rather
Mhm.
than like just like we're good guys or we're bad guys.
Yeah. Man, all this like uncertainty and like not having the names of stuff, not being
Horrible.
able to confirm that that voice is Ganondorf, because some people are like, why is everybody assuming it's Ganondorf? It's really hard not to be honest, because we don't have any other information.
Yeah.
Or like, what is the green hand? What is the green stuff? It's awful. Like this is how my brain feels all the time when I'm trying to think of names for things, but they don't actually have a name, and it sucks.
Yeah, it's I can understand both sides of that. Where like it looks like Ganondorf, his theme is playing in the background. It's probably safe to assume it's Ganondorf. But then again, you know what assuming does, Al.
Can we not? How can we not? Nintendo has given us no other choice.
It's true, yeah. I think it's probably going to be Ganondorf. It would be shocking if that wasn't Ganondorf at this
I know,
point.
yeah, I'd be like, dang, okay.
Yeah.
New villain. Okay.
Okay, let's move on to Twitter. This is from Hyrulean Cookie. So here we go. Theory. The female figure in white, green, and gold is Hylia, and the bare-chested Link is her champion that was Link's prototype. What we see is her champion's memory, and that he has somehow received a similar injury as Link, and it's his power Zelda is asking for in the trailer. I know he looks different than Hylia's champion in the manga included in Hyrule Historia, but I don't know that the manga is canon, or anything else in Hyrule Historia. So let's tackle that last part first. Is Hyrule Historia like officially canon to anything?
I would say, since Nintendo was a part of releasing it, yes.
I would say so too, except Nintendo like completely, I think, not that they
Here's the thing.
disregarded it, but
Here's the thing. I was so it was actually kind of cool because I was playing Minish Cap and I busted out Hyrule Historia and Encyclopedia to get some like background information on Minish Cap. And I love how I went to my bookshelf and I was like, "Hold on, I'm going to grab my Zelda history books over here." So I think that's cool. But in Hyrule Historia, there's like this paragraph above the timeline where they say specifically like this is how we see the information as it is now, and there could be information within these games that already exist that may not, correlate, and that's fine. They basically were trying to say this is real and this is how we're saying it is, but it also could change.
right. Like I feel
So,
like and I'll be honest, I don't know that I've read Hyrule Historia once since I bought it when it came out. That type of stuff is just like not really my bag.
Mm-hmm.
But from what I remember, and you can correct me if I'm incorrect here, like a lot of that information seemed kind of like peripheral to the story rather than like hard, like fast facts
Yeah,
information.
that's kind of what that's kind of
Yeah.
what they were trying to get people to think versus this is hard and fast what this is.
Right.
Because I'm playing Minish Cap and it does not feel like one of the prequel games of the timeline.
Right, exactly.
But it is, according to the timeline. So, anyways, I just wanted to throw that out there as far as Hyrule Historia and the timeline goes.
Right. Okay, so let's get to the meat of this theory actually. So the lady in white, gold, and green could be Hylia. Maybe.
I think that's possible, yes.
Yep. I think that's again. I think it's on the table. Like, so I guess here's the thing: do we think that memories are coming back?
I guess it's possible.
I think like I think that's
I
how
don't know if I
Nintendo
want it
wants
that
to
way,
tell the story. I think so. It makes sense to me that if they're gonna do memories again, and I agree with you. I don't know that I want that necessarily. But I think that if they're going to do that, like you can't do 100 years prior again. Nobody wants to see that anymore. Maybe you do 10,000 years prior when you do have Hylia and you do have Link. So like I think that option is actually on the table. But I guess I would say like we've seen trailer gameplay of like the hero in like his wild form, right? With like the long hair and like the shirt off. We've seen that, right? Now I'm second guessing myself.
No, yes, we've seen him in that outfit, but we've also seen like an official art when all that new official
Right.
art was released the day of the trailer.
Right.
And I can understand that maybe being like the different champion or like the champion from 10,000 years ago, or in this case, I think Hyrule Cookie is referring to the champion from the manga pre Skyward Sword, which is like further back from Skyward Sword.
I'm gonna offend probably some manga fans here, but like those don't mean anything. Like those aren't canon. They don't. I don't know. I don't. If it were me, I wouldn't put much stock into what. Like I think that those are great stories, but they're self-contained stories that don't. They're like different interpretations of what the game is about. It's kind of like when you buy a novelization of a movie. Not really like the same thing. So for me, I like throw those out the window if you're talking about like what's canon and what's not.
Yeah. As far as this theory goes, I think it's possible that the figure could be Hylia. I still hold that it's the princess from 10,000 years ago. And I also think that the Link we see in the like wildish garb is Link. It's just he's wearing something else.
I agree.
It's our Link. Yeah.
I agree with that. I think that's going to be Link as well. But I could see I still think that potentially time travel is on the table as well still.
Yep.
So that I could see that being like the Link of Hylia's time, if that makes sense.
But it's still our Link.
It's still our Link.
Bootstrap paradox.
Yes, exactly. Now, I actually like. I kind of think that lady is going to be like, I don't know. Let's call her like the chief of the Zonai or whatever. Like,
Yep, that could be possible too.
I think like some kind of like almost like an Impa equivalent maybe, or maybe like a Zelda equivalent, but like someone in charge of the Zonai that has a mastery of that green stuff. I think that when Zelda says like lend him your strength, I think that Zelda's talking to her actually, and I think that she's asking her to fix Link's arm at the beginning of the game. I think that's what that line is about. That makes sense to me. Could be wrong, very wrong, but that would be my guess about who that is. But I'm actually down with that idea. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay, this is from Nathan Parkinson. I have a small theory about what all the underground areas that we have seen that it maybe isn't part of the current world, and that Link maybe travels to a different world, like possibly the Twilight or Dark Realm or some other realm. It seems hard to think that all of this existed in Breath of the Wild. Maybe to add to those green swirls are warp points back to the other realm. Yeah, I think that could be on the table. I think it could be.
Yeah, I guess so. I feel
less
like
confident now than I did before. I was sure before there was going to be like a Dark World or something to mirror Hyrule. I feel less confident about that now.
Yeah, I I don't know, because there's parts of the trailers where I'm like, yeah, this is clearly a cave. Like when he's fighting the Talus, with that weird hammer cannon, he's in a cave. But there is that portion where they're mining, and you got those like kind of mushroom top looking trees where you're like, is that the outside? Is that the underground? What if it is a different version of Hyrule that we're seeing? I don't know. It felt underground to me. So I don't think we're going to a different world per se, but I still hold to the fact that we might be going to the past. So if you count that as a different world, then there you go. But
we'll see. Yeah, I could see them being war points, but I think the other couple theories that we've talked about, I would put higher on the likely list. Like, I think even like the canon theory to get you to the sky is probably more likely than that. But it's on the table. Like, everything is pretty much on the table here, so it definitely is a possibility.
It's so vague and annoying.
Well, here we go. Here's another theory about what the green stuff is. This is from Ahmed. Maybe those green vessels on Link's waist are like magic stamina wheel, and the green swirls throughout Hyrule are like refuel stations. As you advance through the game, you can build up your tank, so to speak, and you can perform more magic without refueling.
That's kind of cool. I haven't seen anything like that theory.
Yeah. You know what? I think that's pretty cool as well. I guess I would say the only thing about that is, let me think this through, because I think like you can see the swirls from. It looks like almost like if you were on a mountain, you could look out and see swirls the same way that you can see like the orange glowing of the shrines. So they're clearly something that Nintendo wants you to navigate towards and go seek out. Whereas in my mind, I would kind of think like a refuel, like a gas station, let's just call it that, would be like on the way to that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, or like something to kind of prepare you before you get there. Maybe not. Like again, I think that's on the table, because like I said, like we were talking about earlier with like the arm, I think you're going to be able to craft. I think you're going to be able to do new runes and stuff with that arm. So like, yeah, I think it's on the table, but I don't know. The green stuff just seems like more significant to me than just being like a refuel station. I could see like refuel stations being in the game, but I don't know that they'd be like the thing that you can see from like the top of Mount Hebra and be like, okay, I need to go there. That's the gas station. I need to go there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I get what you're saying, but I mean, maybe not the green swirly points that we see on the map, but like, I do kind of like that idea though, because if you think about it, the Sheikah Slate is just technology using these runes. This is actually Link using whatever kind of energy that green stuff gives him, in order to do this. So that means it's coming from him, like energy is coming from him in some way. So there's going to have to be some kind of refueling system or endurance kind of stamina system, like similar to how we saw with climbing, where he'll be able to use it longer, or it kind of like limits you in a way early on in the game until you can grow exponentially with this power that Link has in his arm. So I kind of like the idea that you could recharge his arm in a way.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I agree with the green swirly points being that, but maybe they are the points where you get more of that stamina / endurance.
Yeah, that I think is a stake that we could bite into. Like that's I think that
cool.
could be cool.
I like that theory.
Like that's a really good idea actually. And like instead, because I mean that could work. Like instead of getting heart pieces, you could just gradually increase your magic bar or whatever it happens to be.
Because can you imagine increasing your hearts and stamina again after Breath of the Wild? They have to kind of make a new system with that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're doing very much the same thing after peaking in Breath of the Wild. Like, it would make sense that it would be a new power that Link has in his arm.
Can I just say, what month is it?
February?
This game comes out in 3 months. It is
Less
outrageous.
than 3 months, my friend.
It is outrageous.
I feel like
that we don't know if there's shrines, if there's memories, if they're like. This is outrageous.
I feel like we've just repeated the last 2 years in this podcast of us theorizing what the heck is happening in this game 3 months before the game comes out.
Let's move on. Okay, next theory. It comes from Sam. This is probably a question better suited for after we've actually got a chance to play the game, but here we go. Maybe those green vessels on Link's waist are a magic stamina we. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm reading the last question. Haha, this is from Sam, actually. What what would be the best and worst implementations of vehicles in Tears of the Kingdom? That was one for the blooper reel. Whoops.
Oh well.
I mean, I don't know. Like, that's kind of a question for after we've played. I want to say, like, I mean, listen, like what we've seen in the trailer so far looks pretty wicked. Like the hovercraft, the John Deere track, that would be the best use if you could just like cruise along and mow Hyrule Field.
Yeah, I think that once you've had the motorcycle, the Master Cycle Zero, it's kind of difficult to go back to just riding a horse or running around on foot. So
Yeah.
I feel like they were trying to evolve with that, where they were just like, hey, what if they could create these cool vehicles to ride around on Hyrule Field and dust and Guardians, even though I don't think we're going to be fighting Guardians anymore, but like, or ways to get up to the sky platforms with these drones and hot air balloons. Like, I think
Right.
they were just like, I think that's the best way to implement it is new fun ways to travel. The worst, I don't know. I really can't see a downfall of it except people messing around, going
Like
through Bokoblin camps on the truck.
the worst
You know?
would be like it wouldn't be like a vehicle. It would be the mechanic itself if they implemented it like funky. You know, like if
Okay.
you only had like 30 seconds on your tractor and then it like ran out of fuel or disappeared or whatever, or like if you
Okay.
like something like that, like
Yeah, that makes
a
sense.
mechanic or something, that's what would bring it down versus like the actual act of building a machine itself. Because I think it'll probably be pretty cool to like build whatever it is you're going to build, right? Like
Yeah.
it looks cool so far, but
Yeah.
yeah, this is definitely a question for like after we've
My
got a chance
gosh,
to
I
actually play the
wonder.
game.
I just had a thought. So I was like, is this build thing gonna be more like you just build to your heart's content, unless as long as you have this, and this piece, it'll work, or are you gonna get like vehicle recipes, quote unquote, like
That
you
could
need
be
a metal
pretty
grate
cool.
to make the drone, and
Yeah.
drone, and like the propellers and stuff, or you need a balloon to make the balloon, like a recipe. You know what I mean? That would be
Yeah,
cool.
that could be cool. I think that's on the table. I really
Yeah.
think that's still on the table.
Because I'm
Um,
not creative. I can't think of how to make that stuff. I need somebody to tell me how to do it.
okay, let's move on here. I think you're creative, Al. Let's move on. This is from RCA VHS. When you were discussing Zelda Falling on the most recent podcast, and they say that they agree with our sequence of events, my mind for some reason went to Lord of the Rings. Princess Zelda, where is she? She fell. Also, what if she returns a la Gandalf? Okay,
Listen.
I'm just gonna be the guy that says it right here. Princess Zelda does not fall to her death.
Okay, listen.
I'm just putting it out there.
I had some people come back to me, and I was actually talking to Catherine about this. When I say that Zelda's gonna die, because I'm inferring that because of the music and just the footage that we see so far, I'm not saying that she's like gonna die. Like,
What else are we supposed to infer from a statement that
Listen.
says Zelda's gonna die?
Listen.
Yeah, I said
How
she's
many
gonna die, but
characters
she's not gonna
from
die.
You're not listening. How many other characters from other fantasy things have we seen fall to their death and they are fine? You know, we are made to believe that they die. How many times have we seen Zelda, quote unquote, die, but she's fine? At least twice in Twilight Princess and Spirit Tracks. She's, quote unquote, died, but she's fine at the end. So, like, I think we're going to see her die and assume that she's dead, but something else is going to go on where she'll come back and she'll be fine. Or maybe she goes on her own adventure like she did in Skyward Sword and she's figuring out stuff on from a different angle. I just think that Link is going to be the one assuming, like, oh, I failed her, she's dead. You know?
Okay.
It could be like, coming back a la Gandalf would be cool. Because that kind of comes back to what I'm saying.
So
She's not going to die.
I would bet you. I'll bet you a dinner, a night out at Culver's in July. Al.
Oh, okay.
Let's bet right now. I'll bet you dinner in Culver's that the sequence of events at the beginning of this game is Zelda falls with Link. Link, we saw his arm is all messed up. The Master Sword is all messed up. Link falls and he helps Zelda like break the fall or something like that. So Zelda's actually fine, but Link is once again on death's door, and so that is when Zelda goes to Miss Zonai or whoever it's going to be. It is just like, lend him your strength, patch my boy up.
Okay. And my sequence of events is Link does not save her whatsoever. And he also, passes out from his injuries, and it's the green hand that is helping him save him. And he doesn't know what happened to Zelda. All he knows is that she fell.
So he already has it. How did he get his green hand in your scenario?
I didn't say no, the green hand helps him. The green hand that's sealing Ganondorf, that figure, because he's still there in the mix. We don't know what his deal is about, the green hand.
No, I don't know. The green...
Okay.
What are you talking about?
In that teaser,
yeah,
you see the green hand that's sealed over Ganon that's holding him there as a corpse.
Okay.
It comes away from him at some point and grabs one of Link's arms. I don't think it's the one that's jacked. I think it's the other one.
This is in like the very, very first trailer, right?
Right.
Yeah,
so it's still there in some way. I think that green hand is the one that helps him with his Malice jacked hand make it so that the Malice doesn't kill him. I think the green hand is going to save Link, but Link isn't going to be able to save Zelda.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me tell you something. We don't have Culver's in Canada, so I'm really looking forward to you buying me a burger.
Okay, whatever, friend.
All right, let's go on to our next theory. This is from Joe Ma. Actually, this is kind of like a similar question that is on the same wavelength. Allison mentioned the possibility of Zelda falling twice last week. What if there's some time-shifting mechanic where Link fails to save Zelda the first time around, then we have to go back in time to get it right the second time, like Zelda Endgame? You know what? I don't think that'll happen. That's kind of what you laid out right there. Listen, I don't think that'll happen, but I mean, well, I don't know, sort of, kind of, maybe not. I don't think that's gonna happen, but it would be like kind of cool if it did. I don't know, be like all right.
I mean, it would be kind of cool if you're going back to the past and find a way to go back to that moment where Link doesn't get his hand corrupted by the Malice and is able to grab Zelda before she falls. Because I really have to put this footage together for you guys so you could see what I saw. But there is 2 instances of her falling, and I don't know if it's because they changed the footage since 2019 or there's just another moment where maybe Zelda slips, because there is a moment where Link grabs her hand, but it happens to be his right hand, which is supposedly jacked in that scene where they're both falling.
Right.
So there's a separate moment where maybe he's helping her up, like she slipped, and he's helping her up, and this is before they get to the corpse, or something of that nature.
So in the first trailer, the E3 2019 trailer, I think the first fall that you're referring to is there's a moment about 45 seconds in where the ground gives out under Zelda.
Right.
And she drops down. But I wouldn't necessarily constitute that as falling, because you do see the ground drop, but it's not like she doesn't fall in the same way that she falls in the other trailer.
Right, that's what I'm saying. She falls twice. Or the
I don't know that I would call
changed.
that one a fall. Maybe like the kind of ground collapses.
What is she doing? She's falling.
Yes, yes, you're right. But there are different types of fall. Like the fall that would just happen,
agree.
like that's a bad fall. Like she's going head first, and it's just like she's backwards, and uh-oh. This one, she's still on stable ground. I would say, I mean, this is gonna sound dumb, but the ground is falling more so than Zelda, who is on the ground, is falling. You know what I mean? I know that seems incredibly arbitrary, but I think that there is a difference. And I can hear everybody right now being like, ugh. And I'll just say it right now, Corey, you go to hell. I don't even want to hear it, but I think there is a difference.
I agree. There is a difference between the 2 moments of her falling, where the ground very much breaks out from underneath her. She falls straight down, okay? I don't think it's definitely a different moment than where she's falling clearly backwards, not straight down, but back into a angle. I don't know how to explain it. And Link leaps for her. So they're falling out, not straight down. I'm just saying there's another moment where she falls straight down, and I don't know if it's because it was changed. They changed it in the last 4 years, or it's just a separate moment altogether.
I think it's just a separate moment altogether. I think that...
It's not like a death.
No, that's not like a death fall. Definitely not. I think that's more like the area that they're in is collapsing, and it's uh-oh.
Exactly.
I can see that
able to save her then.
Yeah, I think that first fall is a prelude to the next fall. That's kind of why I'm saying I don't think she's falling
get where you're
in the
coming
same
from.
way. You know?
I get where you're coming from.
Listen, I understand how arbitrary what I just laid out sounded, but I do think there is a difference.
Okay.
Right?
Okay,
So,
I agree with you.
the ground is falling, Allison, not Zelda. She's just on the ground. Come on.
She's fine.
Okay, from one extreme to another. This is from Count Blazemore. What do you think? What do you think of the rumors that Hyrule Herb will be used to make? I don't even know what this says. Tinctures, balms, and baked goods. Have you heard this rumor?
I haven't heard anything about Hyrule Herb.
Have you ever had the Hyrule Herb before, Al?
No, I haven't. But like, I don't know where this comes from. But like, cool if you can make bombs with it. I guess I'm curious if we're gonna have the same cooking system. I'd be okay if we didn't, or maybe they like. I don't know. I feel like you make a lot of stuff. There's a lot of ingredients that do the same things, so I wouldn't be surprised if they dial it down a bit. But I don't know. I haven't heard this rumor.
I think it'd be cool if there was like new recipes. You gotta get the Hyrule Herb. You gotta get the Hyrule papers. You gotta get the Hyrule
herb
filters.
Is like a really general thing that you just add to beef up the recipe. It doesn't do anything. So
you gotta get the Hyrule rolling kit for the herb.
Oh, geez, Andy.
I've never heard this rumor either, actually, but hey, I'm all for it. All right, let's move on to our. By the way, shout out to Count Blazemore for that question. Let's move on to our next theory. This is from Mac. Tears of the Kingdom seems to be leaning into the sandbox elements of Breath of the Wild, and I also hope the story is more prominent than Breath of the Wild. Would you be content with another story as minimal as Breath of the Wild's was? I think I speak for everybody when I say no. No, we can't do that again.
I think some people don't care that much. But I care. I think that Breath of the Wild story was fine because the world was about exploring.
Yes.
If you give us another game about exploring and without a huge story to go along with it, I don't know how I'll feel. I don't think I'll feel good. I think I'll be disappointed.
Yeah. And listen, I'm like Tears of the Kingdom, it's going to be fun. It's going to be an awesome game no matter what.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? Like,
yes.
But I think that Tears of the Kingdom it has the potential to be simultaneously an amazingly fun and complete Zelda game that also could be the most disappointing game in the entire series.
Yes, I think both those statements could be true. Because it's like, if you really think about it, if, like I said, if this game came out 2 to 3 years after Breath of the Wild, and it is as much as we're only seeing right now, that's fine. That's okay. But we're at the point where we're at 6 years now. 6, 7, how many years? 6.
It'll be 6
years now. That's enough time to innovate something new. That's enough time. And I get it. I know COVID happened. I get it.
But hold on. Let's dial back here. It's not even innovating. As we very clearly detailed, you can have big open world games with big awesome stories. That was done before Breath of the Wild came out ever. So like it's not even an innovation. Maybe it's an innovation to Nintendo. But
it was an innovation to Zelda. That's what I would say. Is the exploration in the open world. Yeah. So it's been that much time that you need to bring something exciting and new to the table. It can't just be like Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. And I think we're trending in that direction. I think even the fact that Ganondorf is back is like pretty cool and kind of tells you like, because I remember when Breath of the Wild came out, or before it came out actually, I was so excited about Calamity Ganon because I was like, what is Calamity Ganon? Like is it a thing? Is it a person? Is it like a spirit? Like what causes it? What makes it? Like I was really excited about like what Calamity Ganon was, which is why I'm like perpetually disappointed with the answer of like it's Malice. And it's like, okay, well like where did that come from? Like who made that? Like what is that from somewhere? Like and I know you guys always make fun of me, but I'm just like I was disappointed with the answer that it's just like it's just evil stuff. Like it's evil. Like in juice form, In
juice form. I call it Malice juice now too. But I mean King Daphnes does say that Ganon was a being before turning into the Malice, but that was 10,000 years ago.
Right.
So that's why everybody thinks this is Ganondorf, besides the fact that it looks just like what you would assume Ganondorf to look like in a Breath of the Wild art style. I mean, there was a Ganon, quote-unquote, being that gave way to malice and hatred. So it's not... I don't know where I was going with this point.
There's another one for the blooper reels. Whoops.
What were we even
listen.
talking
We're talking
about?
about the story.
Oh, the story. So, yeah, I feel like we will get a huge story and more background for poor little Andy about the Malice and where the Malice comes from.
Like, is that... Like, listen, you guys have been
think,
making
you know
fun of
what?
me
If
for
they give
years,
it
but,
to
like,
us,
is
I
that
will be
outrageous to say, like, I am disappointed in Malice because it's just, like, the explanation is just so generic and bland that it's just, like...
I feel like I understand being disappointed in Malice because Calamity Ganon and Dark Beast Ganon are a disappointment, in my opinion, except for Age of Calamity. They made him really cool
That was
in Age
pretty
of
cool,
Calamity.
yeah.
I think the outcome was disappointing. I think the information they gave us of where it came from is okay, but the outcome was disappointing. So I understand where you're coming from there.
All right, let's move on. This is from Hyrule Photographer. Actually, Hyrule Photographer has 2 questions, so let's do the first one. By the trailer we saw, it looks like the Sheikah is not retiring yet. Do you think the Sheikah will play a big role again in Tears of the Kingdom like they did in Breath of the Wild? Also, is there a Sheikah character you guys want to see in Tears of the Kingdom again? You know what? Did they really play that big of a role in Breath of the Wild? Like, really? Like, I know the Sheikah Slate was a big part of that game. But, like...
Sheikah technology.
Technology, yes, but, like...
Yeah.
They didn't really play a big role in the game. Like, Impa kind of set you on your path, and that was pretty much it, like, for her. Peya, you didn't really do a whole lot with. It's like... I don't know. There's still room, I think, for the Sheikah. Like, I think that if the I don't know, antagonist is maybe the wrong word, but like if the Zonai tribe is going to show up, probably safe to assume that the Sheikah is also going to show up in some capacity. It is kind of disappointing though. I would be disappointed if like old woman Impa was kind of your only Sheikah, like especially after seeing like cool Impa from Age of Calamity, like
yeah.
So yeah, I think that like. I could see young Impa coming back to Tears of the Kingdom. Maybe not the exact same one, but I think like Impa is kind of like more of a title in this sense than like a name. Maybe I'm wrong, but like if we're going back like 10,000 years, there's probably like an Impa in that timeline as well that could make an appearance. So that would be cool. I'm not like absolutely dying to see the Sheikah like play a big prominent role in this game, but.
Yeah, I don't know, like, there's still... I feel like the Sheikah used to be this, like, really mysterious kind of tribe, especially post-Ocarina of Time. Because the only real person that we ever saw from it was Impa, and then Zelda dressed up as Sheik, taking on Impa's, like, teachings. But when we got them in Breath of the Wild, they just seemed so normal. You know, like, the mystery was kind of broken a little bit. Except for the Sheikah from 10,000 years ago, because they still have the mystery of creating all that technology, and it was weird because it was like the Sheikah from today, quote, like Breath of the Wild present, were like rediscovering the technology of their people. I feel like that's so weird. Like something happened in between. So I don't know. I think it would be cool if we got to see if our theory about going to the past 10,000 years ago holds true. Getting to see the Sheikah from back then and how they were creating the autonomous army and the divine beast and all that kind of stuff. Were they creating it then, or were they uncovering it then? Never mind. They were uncovering it then. But you know what I mean?
Somebody
like,
made it. Like at some point.
I don't know. It's like I really don't care. It looks like they have some kind of like say in this game, but not much. I feel like the highlight is going to be on this new Sky People / Zonai / whatever the heck they are.
Yeah. Have we seen like so the question here makes mention of like by the trailer we saw, it looks like the Sheikah is not retiring yet. Like I don't even remember seeing like any Sheikah image, like maybe
except
I just missed it.
Kakariko Village. Yeah, that was it.
So I don't know. I'm kind of with you. Like I'm a little bit indifferent. I was pretty indifferent on them in Breath of the Wild. Like they were just there. They were characters. Impa was kind of she was cool in Age of Calamity, but the whole of Age of Calamity is kind of like So that's not really much of an answer. I'm sorry. Let's see if we can do better on your second question. Hyrule Photographer asks, the thing Zelda is holding in the Tears of the Kingdom concept art is not the Sheikah Slate. What do you think that is, and would it be similar to a Sheikah Slate, and what new skills will it have? So, I mean, it looks like a Nintendo Switch. That's what it
It
looks like.
does.
And I'm sure it's
It's
designed exactly to look like a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. My thing is that I think it is the Sheikah Slate.
I
Well,
agree.
here's the thing too. Do we really know that there's only one Sheikah Slate? When Zelda's introducing it to Link, she says, "That's a Sheikah Slate,
Yeah.
not that's the Sheikah Slate." You know? And why would they only have one for all of this technology? There's probably tons buried. Maybe they've unburied a new one. Maybe they've updated the one that we know now. Maybe they've just created a new one because Zelda's like, "Hey, Link usually uses this. Now I want my own."
Yeah.
Or vice versa. Clearly Link isn't going to be using it, but I just think it's just an upgraded version, or they found another one, or whatever have you. But yeah, I agree that it looks like the Switch, which is cool.
Yeah. I mean, it looks pretty much like a Sheikah Slate. Like there's not really that much difference. Like I'm looking at a picture of the Sheikah Slate now, and it has like hand grips on it, whereas the one that Zelda is holding, the only difference looks like that there's no hand grips, and that she's just like holding it like you would a Switch. Which I want to say, like, I mean, the first like Sheikah Slate was kind of designed to look like, or be
The
at
Wii
least
U
somewhat
gamepad?
similar to the Wii U gamepad, which I realize doesn't have those grips, but like, so I think that the Sheikah Slate maybe just got like a facelift from game 1 to game 2. And I think it's probably as simple as that.
Yeah, because it's technology and it could be upgraded. So it's not like an artifact that you can't change whatsoever. It's literally tech. So you can always change tech.
Yeah, which like I think is maybe a disappointing answer, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's going to be. Metroid, like Samus's ship changes from game to game, right? And it's just like a new upgraded ship. No explanation needed. It's the same thing. It does the same function. Flies. I think this is going to kind of be the same idea here. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I also don't think that the Sheikah Slate is going to be used that much in this game.
Yeah.
Like, I think ruins themselves, like we've seen that they're going to be attached to Link's arms. So, I don't know. I think that the Sheikah Slate is going to be downplayed in this game. So, there we go.
There you go.
All right. Well, that was our last theory. That was it. That was all.
Cool.
How are you feeling, Al?
I feel good. Like, I feel like at least that trailer gave us a little bit more to go off of, to talk about, to theorize about, because before it was just like, what could we theorize about that we haven't over and over and over and over again?
Yeah,
what more questions could people ask that we haven't dug into the ground already? So I'm glad that it gave us a little bit more to go off of, but still, like, we literally know nothing. It's just so frustrating.
It is.
I'm sorry that we get onto that every week, but it's just it is. It's frustrating for us.
Well, I feel like a broken record. I've said this 100 times. I must have said it more actually, but like, I still think this looks more like Breath of the Wild 2 than it does Tears of the Kingdom, right? Like, so we are gonna need some stuff, and like, if some of the things that we think could be a possibility, like weapon crafting, like a dark underground portion of the map, like dungeons, like let's get some confirmation on that so we can start like forging an identity for Tears of the Kingdom, because it still has the identity in my mind of just being like the sequel to Breath of the Wild. And I think if it doesn't like have that, it's destined to live in the shadow, the large shadow that Breath of the Wild casts. So we'll see. Like I said, this has the potential to both be an amazing Game of the Year caliber game and the most disappointing game in the entire series at the same time.
Yep.
So we'll see.
Agree, but I am gonna say it's not. So
I'm keeping the hope alive. I think they got something for us. Like they got something that they're not showing us, and I don't know why, but I don't know. I'm gonna have to phone my uncle at Nintendo and get them to get that story trailer out there pronto. Okay, that is it. That's all. We are going to get out of here. Thank you so much to everybody for submitting your questions and your theories and your comments and your reviews. I want to thank everybody again for those. I don't check them as much as I should, but they are very appreciated. So thank you so much. You know where to find us. You can check us out over on Twitter at the Zelda Cast, at Spateri316, at Allison Aletha. And you can check us out wherever you get your podcast. Like, subscribe, 5-star reviews. Pretty sweet. Thanks, guys. Keep it rolling in. And you can check us out over on Twitch every single week. We live stream the show, twitch.tv/the Zelda Cast. So you can see our mugs in live and beautiful color if you want to come and hang out with us. All right, that is going to do it for us. We are out of here. Until next week, everybody. Take care.
Bye.
Hey everyone! If you enjoyed this clip and want to see more of the Zelda Cast, make sure to head over to your favorite podcast platform of choice and subscribe. There are over 200 episodes in the vault that will provide you with hundreds of hours of Zelda content for you to enjoy. You can listen to us when you're on a walk, fighting Ganon, trying to sleep, whatever. And if you want to see these shows as they happen, make sure to head over to twitch.tv/the Zelda Cast, where you can watch our beautiful faces talk about Zelda every single week. Don't miss out, and we'll see you next time.